last year and didn't get to play, but surely you could be the biggest disappointment of Premier League history. You had high hopes for you and you're failing to deliver. A goal for a handicap and reputation of you, and you put in that performance.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Neville Richards Premier League Week 2 wrap-up. Matty Milne, another big weekend of Premier League action for Neville Richards. Thanks to Luke Campbell and his team. I feel like something crazy is going to happen in the show. I'm not sure what it is though.
Yeah, Mark, I don't think you're very well prepared this morning after your heroic effort on Saturday for the Warriors.
Yeah.
Then the Hawks got over the line. You probably went and watched Geelong at GMHBA Stadium get their pants pulled down yesterday as well, which would have made you happy. And we had round 2 of Premier League. It was a fabulous day, perfect weather, massive turnout. We had 109 play out of the 120.
Amazing.
It was competitive across all matches, bar one, but tight margins. We had a 5-point and 2 6-point deficits, and then a 13-point deficit in the fourth game. But yes, we saw 2 teams, the Bullies and the Pirates, get their first wins, while the Peakers and the Goblins remain winless.
It does seem like the 8-player format, 8 counting scores, is A, producing better scores, and B, making it tighter.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether the little bit of less pressure by having 8 scores counting is helping the players, but yeah, it's hard to get a sense of how the matches are going early on in the morning, because yeah, anything can happen in that afternoon field with 8 scores counting.
Well, speaking of getting a feel on how things are going early in the year, last week we put our tips down on the table, and you gave the Tornadoes a bit of stick. I lobbed for the Goblins at the bottom of my prediction ladder, and you went for the red and white team, and they clashed this week. And who's looking like they've got egg on their face?
Well, still 12 more rounds to go. John Leading's not that good. He can't continue, so he's got one good game in him, and he had that on Saturday.
You called him leaking as you called him to the tee.
Mm-hmm.
He had that glint in his eye, gave me a bit of lip as I walked past. He was on.
It's interesting. Even his teammates don't rate him.
John, I do. I still do.
He came in and said he had a little bit of extra fire in the belly after last week's video, and that's how you can take it. You can have the John leaking effect and go out and say, stick it up me, or you can have the other Suki Lala one that, yeah, go back and hide in the corner. But Johnny, you did stand up on Saturday. Let's see if you can do it this week.
Do you want to talk Suki Lalas now, or do you want to wait till this review unfolds?
Suki Lala, Ian Flanders has won, but anyway, we'll get to him later. But yeah, the Tornadoes, they had a 13-point victory over the Goblins. Tornadoes had the 13 players. The Goblins had a full complement of 15. So Flanders, if you do have less players than the other team, you can still win. There's no need to sook up about your players not turning up. But for the Tornadoes, they scored, as I said, 283, and they're our Callaway golf ball winners this week as the top scoring team. For the Tornadoes, we had John Leading, 40, Ian Davis, 36, Ollie Boland, Pete O'Neill, Chris Dodd, Simon Goggin, all on 35, and Namale, 34, and my girl Doreen. My girl Doreen Ivers, 33. Welcome to the big league, Doreen.
Don't suck up to her now.
Yeah, she took it on the chin, and she knew she had to lift, and so she did on Saturday. Proud of her.
She's off you.
No, she's not.
She loves me, she's off you.
Yeah, well, that's debatable. But then for the Goblins, though, we had David Milne on 38, Johnny Dixon 35, alongside Andrew Whitson. Ray Lineker had 34, 33s for Arthur McPhee and Yvette Pollock, and 31 for Phil Joy Francis, Pants Peacock, and Steve Smith for his first game this year. But the Goblins, they just can't get it done. 2 weeks in a row now, they've had solid performances and failed. Their score this week would have beaten 4 other teams this week if they had played them.
No, I don't want to hear it.
But they just drew the wrong team.
No, I don't want to hear it, Matty. Don't make excuses.
Oh, I'm trying my best, boys. AM scoring was even this week with the Tornadoes. Ian Davis, the ever-consistent Chris Dodds, Malsey, and then, as I said, my girl Doreen hitting the scoreboard. And they were matched with the morning Goblins of Johnny Dixon, Andrew Whitson, Ray Lineker, Yvette Pollock and Arthur McPhee. But this left it up to the PM players to chase the glory. When David Milne got the Goblins off with a promising 38, but That was the best for the Goblins, while the rest of them were only at 31s. Tornadoes PMs of Ollie, Pete O'Neill and Simon Goggin put him in a strong position, and then John leading, he just put the exclamation point on the victory with a magnificent 40. Goggin had no faith. I said to Gogs when he finished, I said, oh, Johnny's going good, he's 36 points after 16, and his comment was, oh, well, he'll only finish on 36. He shot even par, 2 birdies and 2 bogeys. I've always had faith in you, John.
No, I can't believe, listen to you, you're sucking up to John, you're sucking up to Doreen, you're sucking up to Gogs.
Yeah. Yeah, well, Gogs is off me because I told him he plays too slow, so he's off me there.
You can't come on and off the Tornado bandwagon.
No, I'm staunch. They'll be bottom 4.
I'm sticking with it. Tell me, there was a big name who didn't fare so well for the Goblins, who might have been so embarrassed that he's escaped and run out of town.
We'll get to the Jamesies now.
Oh.
Tornadoes had a Jamesy.
Yes.
Yeah, Neil Ryan, a disgraceful 21. Yes. And how many reckon the Goblins had a Jamesy?
There must be a couple to go down.
None.
Oh.
That's what I mean. The Goblins aren't that bad. They didn't have any in the under 25s, but we do have one, a special mention, as Mark alluded to there. Former Drayton medalist, the Greek god, beautiful man, Yanni Lethouris. Even his teammates, when they come in and looked at the scores, couldn't believe what tripe he put out on Saturday. He had 26 points. He was like a new recruit this year, as he's been overseas last year and didn't get to play, but surely you could be the biggest disappointment of Premier League history. You had high hopes for you and you're failing to deliver. A goal for a handicap and reputation of you, and you put in that performance. I was going to say you should hang your head in shame, but as Hazy said, you've jumped on a plane, you've gone to the US. Apparently it's for work, but for an inept performance like that, for you to run out of town is shocking. I may have a replacement for you this week whose golf is probably just as bad as your own, and he would probably perform just as bad as you, and that would probably be Max Edmondson. He might fill in, because he's playing shithouse as well. So it might be a good swap 1 for 1.
You're back this week. This is much more like the missile of old.
You like it, do you?
Yeah, I do. I do like it.
But yeah, Yanni, shocking. And this is where Yanni is at the moment. 4 a.m. this morning I received this photo. He's in some sports bar in the US, lopping it up while his teammates are hard on the grind on the range practicing, and he's just there snorting.
I knew something was going to happen. Oh my goodness. We'll talk to the lawyers about that one, the Mr. and Mrs. Lethouris.
I told you I'd get it in there, Malsey.
Wowee. All right, I'll try and get us straightened up a little bit here. The next match we want to review.
I've got nothing else for the rest of the show.
Oh my goodness. I wonder what Dale Pollock is how he's going to edit that. That's going to be a real challenge for him. Number 2 match to review, Matty, was it wasn't high scoring, but it was very close again. The Bullies and the Crusaders. A very important match for the Bullies, actually.
It was, and they come back to their winning form with a 267 to 261 win over the Crusaders. Bullies had the 13 players, Crusaders had the full 15. Flanders, another team won with less players. That's a pattern. For the Bullies, Stewie Anderson and Ross Morland on 35, Rob Casey 34, while on 33 we had Ange Royal, Judy Said, Cooper McMurrich back in.
Yep.
And then on 32, Barry Doyle and Richard West. While for the Crusaders, the other Boland, Xavier Boland had 37.
Nice score.
Helen Powell and Scott Hopwood 34. Donovan Hill 32. Your mate Gibbsy. Himself, Adam Shawcross, Noel Pike and Lee Datson all had 31. But there's, as I said, the Bullies returned back to form. They had the ascendancy early with Stewie Anderson, Rob Casey and Judy Said, easily covering Scotty Hopgood, Bobby Gibbs, Cherie Gill and Lemonade Connolly and Tony Havis. But the Crusaders had 6 PM players contribute, counting scores, and that's where the win come from, with Xavier Boland the best on 37. But yeah, Rossi Morland's 35 for the Bullies, got them up. Choco Royal was enough to get them over the line. Interestingly though there, Hazy,
Yes.
the Bullies were able to get the win without any one of their players playing the handicap.
Interesting.
So it goes to show a bit of consistency through there can also lead to a win if you haven't got all the stars aligning for you. For the Jamesy, new player Tony Havis, you were going to be the big great hope for that team, Tony.
Yeah.
24 points. I know you've just got your handicap and you'll probably have a bit of fluctuation, but 24 just does not cut it in this competition. And the Bullies...
Did he think that you might have let him off in his probably third round as a member of the club?
Nah, well Jeff Evans told me to get stuck into him, so
Okay.
he said I'll give you a pass to do that.
Okay.
And for the Bullies, Sean Rodwell on the border, 25, the 25 and under. Reckons he found nearly every bunker on the course on Saturday.
Hey.
Everything went wrong for him, but I'm sure you will lift next week, Sean. We have faith.
Fascinating. All right, the third match, Matty, for review is it's been one of the showcase matchups in the first couple of years of Premier League. It's the Hookers and the Pirates, another close one and pretty high scoring too.
Yes, only 6 points separated these, with the Pirates on 279 defeating the Hookers 273. Pirates had 15, Hookers had 12. For the Pirates, Cliff McCorkle on 40, Sue Gregory 38, Steve Gill 35, Justin McGrath, Richard Geary had 34, while Sue Holland, Suki Collins and John Poe, again, Johnny Poe,
He's on fire.
he was 32, while the Hookers, Tim Belitho had 39, James Finch 37, David Byrne 35. Well done, Finchy and Mr. Byrne. Good to see you reaching the scoring this year. Fiona Newman and Mickey McNeil had 34, while Dean Jeffrey had 33, and Jim Pike 31 and Julie Milne 30. So as you can see with the Hookers there, as it went down the counting scores, it just slid away too quickly
Yeah.
for them.
I did play with Richard Geary, isn't he? Impressive ball striker.
Is he?
Yeah, very nice young. Oh, well.
So
Let's go with young.
he's a better golfer than Neil and Marion then. That wouldn't be hard though, would it?
No, he's an impressive ball striker. I could see him being a real factor for the Pirates as the season
Well,
unfolds.
that's good to hear for the Pirates, as we did select them to be up near the pointy end of the ladder this year.
We
but
did.
Pirates back to this winner's circle. AM players dominated this contest with 11 of the 16 scores coming from the morning.
Yep.
The Pirates' 7 counting scores were AM. So they really got it. So the Pirates had that advantage with Cliffy McCorkle, Corky, I know you hate the name, but anyway, 40 points.
That's not going to stop him.
Winning the Travis Matthews
Well
shirt.
done. Well played.
Would have been hard to beat. Johnny leading, obviously, was a count back for that.
Yeah.
But Cliff had 24 on the back 9.
Oh, that'll get the job done.
Yes. Tim Belitho did have a chance to match Cliff, but he failed with a 1-pointer on his last hole. I was watching Tim go through, and
He wouldn't have.
but he started on the back 9, so the triangle sort of didn't affect his finish there. But yes, still 1 point on the last hole doesn't cut it. 6-point deficit. Did the Hookers blow it?
Well,
Paul Marnie didn't turn up.
what's going on with Paul Marnie?
Spoke to Kevin,
Yeah.
and here's a photo of Kevin this morning, or Saturday morning.
Oh, he's got a bit.
Think Paul might have given him a clip when Kev told him to turn up.
Wow.
He told him he was weak as water. But yeah, so Paul wasn't here. Apparently he had to go and pick his son up from the airport for Mother's Day. But Paul, you know that there are gold buses and public transport that he could have taken. So you could at least come and represent your team with the strength that you have, like your football club may be going missing, Carlton. But yeah, so disappointing that Paul didn't play. We had the big strong plumber, Michael McNeil, wiped his last hole, and also wiped the 6th, the par 5 that normally a man of his length would be on in 2. Get a wipe on that.
Wow.
David Byrne, sensational that you are back as a counting score, but 15 on your last 9 holes doesn't cut it. 4 1-pointers on your back 9. Fill in Fiona Newman, wipes the 17th and 1 point on 18.
Ooh.
Julie Milne, counted score with 30.
It's Mother's Day,
It
remember?
was Mother's Day, and I went to the range with her yesterday, and she's swinging horribly. She had 18 on her first 9 and then 12 on the back 9 with wipes on 6 and 9.
Ooh.
So I'm tipping the swing that I saw on Sunday matched her the last 9 that she played. And probably the other one who needed to be sort of spoken about was the returning Lee McMurrich.
Yes.
Like,
How did he take his week 1 video?
oh, I wasn't happy. he was off me, big time. He said, what comes through in those group messages is private and confidential, but I say, no, it's not. I'm putting it out there if it comes. 28 points, you rate yourself so highly, you couldn't beat your son on Saturday, didn't have a counted score, you think you're like the prima donna of Premier League, that everyone wants to be on your team, but no, it's not the case. So he was very disappointing, maybe cost his team victory. For the Jamesies, the Pirates had one. Mrs. Scuba Hub, she had 23, not good enough, Wendy. You should know about Premier League now with all the visualisation that you used to do in previous years of what happens. And for the Hookers, we had a player disqualified too, after his 40 points the week before, he was a non-contributor on Saturday.
Do we want to talk about this? It's a little bit controversial, to be fair. Trying to think of famous 15s. There's, Luke Hodge.
Could be Bo Derek and then Bo Derek half, is that?
Bow and a half.
Bow and a half.
Could be one for each member of your team, although Paul Marnie didn't turn up, so that's sort of a moot point.
You buy a dozen stubbies and you get 3 free.
Or, Mark Wilkins, you put 15 sticks in your bag. What the hell?
On top of hitting off the wrong tee markers on a hole as well. You have had a shit house days.
15 sticks.
Yes, well, I'd be DQ'd myself instead of having your 16 points published. But anyway, that's another story.
16 points, 15 clubs. It was neck and neck for a while.
So it's 14 in total, Mark, and 14 has to include your putter as well. So, yes, hopefully that won't happen this week.
All right, now the fourth and final game for review, Matty. This is a big one, but it was probably the lowest scoring affair, even though it ended up being close between the Warriors and the Peakers.
Yes, and this is where Flange come in, sooking it up Saturday morning. None of my players are playing. We're not going to win. We've got no one turning up. Well, the Warriors had 12, the Peakers had 14, and the Warriors won. 263 to 258, 5-point victory. The Peakers were the weakest water team this week as the lowest scoring with the 258, so they get a bottle of water from the pro shop before you play. I think the teams are actually embarrassed because I only had one person collected from week one. So so they may not rate the award very highly, but anyway, it is there if you want to collect it. If not, it'll go into my stock. For the Warriors, we had Robbie Stiglbauer on 39, the great man here as a fill-in, 35, Jilly Barker, Jeff Evans on 33, Chris Geary on 32, then we had the Milkman on 31, and then Rick Edmondson, Dale Scotts were 30. While the Peakers, Dale Pollock 35, Jeanette Johnson 34, Jan Cogger, Nipper Dodds, David Hutton, Lloyd Shepherd 32s, and then we had Craig Finnemore on 31, and then not to be left out, Shawnee Boland and 187-year-old Peter DeFazio were 30 counted for their team. But the Warriors stamped their dominance with this win. Stiglbauer was the difference by having a 4-point better score than anyone else within the two teams. It was evenly poised after the morning, with Pollock and Hayes cancelling each other out, while Biceps Evans, Chris Geary and Dale Scott matched Nipper, Dave Hutton, Snags and DeFazio. But outside of Stig, the PM players for both teams failed to deliver anything to flatter their handicap. But there's one thing that we can't, I suppose, how do we say it? The influence of this man on the match shouldn't be discounted. Like, you out at 35, out early in the morning. You have been referred to as Jinxie by Mr. Madden. I did receive a text message from Stuart Sunday morning wishing me to pass on the congratulations to you. It was good to see. I know we had a few little issues out there with the shank, etc. Foxhead didn't think you could put 2 scores in a row, but I think you've told him to jam it and show what you're actually good for and what you were paid for.
Well, I think that instead of the 30 for a counting score, I'm going to double it up. It needs to be at least 40 from you, Mr. Madden.
You reckon?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, you were the influence of the team. You set the standard, and I was proud of you, Mark.
Oh, thank you, Matthew. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yep.
It's very unusual. very. I just feel like there's a sting in the tail, but no, thank you. It was good fun. I was very nervous about lining up for the Barker team, but I didn't let her down. So I'm here in one piece.
Yeah. So we go to the Jamesies.
Yes, please.
All right. For the Warriors, Shirley Bell, 23. Not allowed to say anything about Shirley. But you know what I'm thinking, Shirley.
Why can't you say anything about Shirley?
Ian Flanders,
Hang on.
23.
Why can't you say anything about Shirley?
I'll get to her next week when she puts in another score like that. 2 in a row, Shirley, then you're in the gun. Ian Flanders, 23.
God.
So Flanders talks about people who are deliberately playing poorly to win shirts. Well, Ian, you must be going for the piss poor team this year. But then again, you do play atrocious like that most times, unless it's a monthly medal. And Sean Ward, after last week's 41, he had 21.
What?
21 points for Sean.
Wow. 21 points.
21,
You
yep.
told me he putted better.
He's most consistent, inconsistent golfer you will ever see here at the club. But yeah, Sean had 21. And how many do you reckon for the Peakers, considering they lost and only scored 258?
Well, they must have had 3 or 4.
None.
Surely.
None.
No Jamesies.
No Jamesies.
Wow.
So they were just,
So
the Peakers were consistently mediocre.
So every single one of Flanders' beefs is irrelevant.
Correct. Which is like him, he's irrelevant.
I want to give a bit of talking of praise to Rico. 2 counting scores in back-to-back weeks.
Yep.
That's matched his 2024 total
Yes.
already after 2 rounds.
Yeah, he's going good, the old Rick. And another one too is probably Stiglbauer. Spoke to Rob. He's been actually in white-hot form over the last few weeks. Even on Tuesdays and Thursdays he's been doing that. And he did mention when he came in, I don't think I can go 3 or 4 in a row, but Rob, you did 39. I hear there was plenty of pars out there, so good job. And you led your team to victory with this great man.
Some Drayton medal votes coming your way, Rob.
Yeah, you'll get some Drayton medal votes there, Hazy. On the board.
Up and about. All right, that's it for the reviews. Let's have a look at the ladder. Apologies while we do this, Matty. There was some complaints last week about the backlighting of the video. Some said that it was like you trying to get the Sybil Shepherd sort of soft lighting going on, just to.
Come on, I've had a haircut and I'd spruce myself up. I don't need that. I'm not that vain.
So if we
Where's my halo light?
I'm just getting up the ladder here, Matty. Just getting past Sybil Shepherd.
Yeah, the Warriors and the Tornadoes are at the top, with the Warriors up by percentage, I think it is there, Hazy.
Correct.
And then we've got our little gobbles at the bottom, but that could change this week maybe.
Yeah, still early days, but it is interesting to see the mighty Tornadoes, as predicted by someone, going so well.
Yeah, they can lose the next 6.
All right, Matty, let's push on through into the previews. This is where you really sort of lay it on the line for the matches coming up.
I'm going to go easy this week because there's a few soft people out there. But
no, mate, you've criticised every aspect of their lives so far. Why stop?
Why? Hookers 3rd versus the Crusaders 5th. Both teams sit 1-1. Hookers should welcome back Paul Marnie. Who knows? Should welcome back Andreas Belkis.
Who's absent this week?
Yes, he was away, played in the Victorian Associate Championships at Tokemall.
How did that go?
He made the cut, so that was good. He played well up there for the week. The Hookers have been the highest scoring of the team so far through the first 2 rounds, and that's obviously what's required is high scoring. Now, McMurrich, Marnie and Belkis haven't contributed much at all for the Hookers so far, so them coming in, I'm not sure if it's a big gain, but anyway, you got to mention it. While the Crusaders would love some high scoring from Tony Havis, as we've mentioned, John Rowe and Sprite Connolly. And also Christine Noble probably needs to put another improvement in her performance. Yes, I know Saturday was better, but 29 points still doesn't get you into those counting scores, so we need something in the mid-30s from you, Christine. One Crusader who is flying close to the PP team this year, and he has been an all-port player in previous years, is Ian Lachlan. The 2 rounds in so far, not a counted score, and he's had 29 and 30. Might have been good enough in previous years to get some accolades, but no. Quality has improved this year and you need to lift your game. I know you probably don't need to lift it much because you are quite short, but anyway, you need a lifting performance.
I thought that might have been coming. I just wasn't sure how you're going to work it in. The second game you want to look at, Matty, is it's an absolute must for the Goblins now at 0-2, but they're facing the Pirates.
Yeah, Pirates are 4th, Goblins are 8th. It's on percentage though, they could be 7th, but anyway. It is a big game on paper. on paper and consistency, you would have to favour the Pirates, but as we know in golf, anything can happen. Surely the odds of the Goblins clicking on one day is getting closer, because it didn't click for them 14 weeks in a row last year, and now we're 2 weeks in. Surely at 17 weeks we're at the time. The Pirates through 2 rounds, their lowest counting score, so 16 scores, has been 32 points. And that's only been once, which was last week, and they've had 3 scores over 36, while the Goblins' lowest counting score has been 29, and they've only had 1 over 36. So you would think purely on numbers that the Pirates should get this done, but Goblins have had 3 players missing, which was in round 1 for the season, whereas the other times they've all turned up. All Pirates have played every week, so all Pirates are getting on the park. Goblins have had a couple missing. Let's hope that they all turn up this week. Focus on the Goblins, as the Pirates seem to be all in form, except for Mrs. Scuba Hub for the Pirates. Kenny Ladder and even Dennis Wood's been a bit lacking for them.
Jizzy looks good out there on the little vehicle though.
Yeah, he's going to fall off though. He's going to fall off soon. Him and Moorcroft.
What are the odds on that? Who's going to come off first?
Well, they've probably had their vehicles for 3 to 6 months and they haven't come off yet, but there is a point, I reckon, this winter when it's a little bit moist.
Did it give in the ground?
Yeah, like a bit of the sand move, and they're going to go straight over the top.
No,
and I have told them both I'm not calling the ambulance.
Dennis Wood looks like Kelly Slater out there.
Does he get a bit side to side?
No, just a bit of a floater now and again. He's perfectly in control. It's magnificent.
Yeah, he's a good man, Dennis. But the Goblins need something from highly credentialed players like Murray Wiley, runner-up in the Drayton Medal last year. Murray, surely you can give them something. John Bowman, don't use age as an excuse, because the course is getting longer. Maybe just use an extra couple of clubs. But then again, if you can't reach that short par 4 with your 3 wood, maybe time to give the game away. Brian Bell, you're normally consistent, but this year you've been consistently Scheisenhausen. Maybe your new cart is making you soft. Toby Prime, how's this bloke? Refers to himself in the third person. Can perform on a Thursday off the blue tees, but when it comes to the blacks, not so good. He's called himself Jezza. Now he's calling himself LeBron. LeBron, of all things.
Thinks like LeBron going back to Cleveland, that he's back to the Goblins, which...
Back to the Pirates. He's a Pirate.
Back to the Pirates, sorry.
Yeah, he was Pirate, then he went Goblin, then he's back to Pirates. But
I don't know. I think he's a Goblin, Matty, isn't he? Yeah, he's back to the Goblins.
Sorry, yes, correct, yeah.
He's look, we got this little video of him playing on Saturday. He likes to blame things that really are in his control.
Oh, really? Okay, I haven't seen this video.
Well, he dumped one in the bunker on the 12th here.
Yep.
From high angle, and it just came as a plug lie. That's surely on the player, isn't it?
Sure, yes. Yeah, well, apparently our bunkers don't have much sand in them, so I don't know how they could plug, but anyway, but yeah, you hit it in the bunker, that is what the risk that you take.
Yeah, no, he's LeBron.
LeBron Cameron, well, what a name.
Anyway, so that's the second game. The third game we want to look at, Matty, is, well, on paper, the Warriors are starting to look pretty good, but they've got a real challenge just to assert their good start against the Bullies.
Yes, it is a danger game for the Warriors up against last year's premiers who found form last week. Bullies still have a few players down on form, in particular Bill Archer, John Wooten, Jerry Raviani and Kevin Hudson. Sean Rodwell had a shocker last week, 2 in a row, not sure, maybe could happen. Similar to some Warriors who were deplorable last week, which we highlighted, Flanders, Wardy and Shirley Bell. Bullies will hopefully see the return of Jackie Rowe, who's been crook, and Phil Stevens didn't play Saturday, bad back. Yeah, went and had a bit of massage treatment on Friday to try and get it up. Coming out of practice Friday afternoon, got 4 or 5 holes in. No good. No, didn't play. While the Warriors might get back Matty Davies, Bernard Reid, John McGlone and Boxhead. I don't know if Boxhead can do your scoring power on Saturday, but he's got a lot to live up to. Warriors seem to be having 1 or 2 players performing better than handicap each week. They had 4 in the first round, while the Bullies haven't had a player reach 36 points yet.
Interesting.
So, going to be a good one.
Now, I think I'm really interested in a couple of the inclusions or otherwise in the final game, Matty, which is the Tornadoes. my boys and girls versus the Peakers.
Well, is this going to be a percentage booster for the Tornadoes? Undefeated, sitting second, up against the winless Peakers. On paper, they look evenly matched, but the Peakers have underperformed so far this year. Although the Peakers have lost both games, their losing margin has only been 7 points and 5 points. The Tornadoes are the highest scoring team through the 2 rounds, while the Peakers sit 34 points behind them in actually total points scored. If the Peakers are to win, they will need Tommy Morgan. Tom, very disappointed on Saturday with you. You are better. Warren Stevenson, 28.
71-time Winchelsea Open champion.
Champion. And have a look at the photo of here. This is where his ball finished up on Saturday. I'm sure if he played at Winchelsea, someone would have thrown it out onto the fairway for him because he's at Port. Sean Boland, although he had a counting score, Sean, on Saturday, 30's not good enough. And Alan Kerry also. Peakers should have Ange Foot back this week. She missed last week due to her husband probably breaking his ribs the night before and having to take him to emergency. That's why she didn't turn up. She didn't forget. She was down still. Interestingly though, the Tornadoes have been winning without the services of Ryan Barry Marbles Reynolds.
It's just Barry Marbles.
Barry Marbles hasn't played.
He talked a very big game before the Premier League season.
So I just hope that when he does return, he doesn't throw the balance of the Tornadoes out and then they start to capitulate.
Ryan, be nice to see you out here on a Saturday.
He came to the golf committee meeting Tuesday night, but yeah, couldn't front up Saturday for some reason.
Interesting.
And then the other ones for the Tornadoes, they need Mr. Tickle My Doodah Wilson to improve. If this is what we see here of you on the 18th on Saturday putting up, no wonder your form is horrible.
Oh, wow. That's not ideal, Tickle, I have to say.
No, like for a man like yourself who's fit, you wear the nice bright clothing so everyone can see you, but the only thing it does is it does attract attention to yourself and then people see you in these circumstances and predicaments on course. So if you're going to wear the gear, you need to show up and show some game.
I like it. Not only bright, like they tend to be tight too.
Yeah, likes to show off the biceps.
Yeah.
Him and Justin McGrath together.
Cutting a swathe through the Canberra, the Drysdale Rec Reserve. Right, that's it for the week 2 video. We'll be back to normal in terms of where it all sits this week. Apologies, I was absent a little bit last week, so I'll make it all normal this week. Thank you, Matthew. You'll be hearing, I've already heard from the Lathuris lawyers on the phone. And the,
it's all right, I've got a lawyer here, Tom Morgan. He's my mate. He's studying to be a lawyer, so I'm sure we'll be fine.
Has he got enough to get over the US Customs Service when they detain him?
Hey, I said to Yanni, I hope they let him back in the country. I hope they let him in.
You a bit nervous?
Oh well, some of his political thoughts doesn't go what we'd like to see, and yeah, I think he might struggle to get back into Australia.
All right, team. Thank you so much, Matty. Great to see so much.
Thank you, Hazy. To you, are you playing this week?
I think I'm down to play.
Yes, you have been seconded by someone this week.
Already?
You've already had a request that was put in 2 weeks ago.
Oh.
So just to give you a preview, you will be a bully this week.
A bully?
Yes. You are a bully. You are replacing Ross Morland this week.
Oh.
So big shoes to fill for Ross too.
I'm going to need to do some sort of lap work. All right. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate the time, especially of Neville Richards, Luke Campbell and his team down there. Pop along and see him if you're that way inclined. And thank you for your contributions as ever.
Thank you, Mark. You were fabulous on Saturday, and let's hope you're even more fabulous this week.
Good Lord. Goodbye.
See you all.